super excited. Eyes are on us, and I think I think we are the true main event right now. Not to take anything away from the main event, but those guys are really stoic, and I'm not the most charismatic person at times, but Paddy sure is, and I think it's going to be a great fight. Super excited, can't wait to get in there.
What do you make of that? I mean, obviously, he's a charismatic dude, right? He brings a lot of attention. You kind of blue-collar, grinding in the shadows or whatever. So, I mean, what do you think makes a guy boisterous like this?
I think it's great, man. I think he's great for the sport. I like him. I liked him from the start, even before UFC when he was in Cage Warriors. And, to get a chance to get in there with someone like him, I put myself right in this position to be in this moment. Everything that I did, I walked left, I walked right, I lost, I won, and it led me right here. So it's just an opportunity that I have to seize, just like anything else in life, and that's what I'm going to do.
Have you felt like a responsibility, I guess, to maybe come out of your shell a little bit or whatever, or to kind of be a little more out there in this role, in this fight?
Not necessarily. People don't really know me that well, I don't think. If you hung out with me for a couple hours, you'd be like, this is not who we think he is. But I have a responsibility to set a good example, I think. So, but I could be fun too.
Personality aside, what do you make of Paddy as a martial artist? I mean, there seems to be some debate in just how good he really is. Knowing that you've been watching him since Cage Warriors days, what do you make of him as a martial artist?
I think he's dangerous. I think he's unpredictable, and I think that he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeves. And he's a good grappler, and that was his base. But he goes for it standing. He kicks. He flying knees. He big punches. This is MMA. This isn't boxing. This isn't kickboxing. There's so many variables that I'll spar with amateurs, and I'm like, why am I getting my ass kicked right now? So I'm looking at it like this is the best fighter that I've ever fought, and I'm not looking past him whatsoever.
Do you think his grappling stacks up with the guys you've just faced? I mean, you faced a couple high-level grapplers in a row.
I mean, listen, he's tricky. He does more dynamic movements, like flying arm bars, flying triangles. He takes the back really well also. Do I think he's necessarily as solid as a grappler as, say, Grant Dawson or Joe Selecki? I don't know. I guess I'll find out Saturday night. But I'm ready for it. And, people, I'm not subbing guys constantly, so people are like, oh, he's just a positional guy. But, I think that my grappling is up there with all those guys. So, fight's a fight, and I just gotta be the man that shows up that night.
Last thing for me, big win for you here. Just curious where you think this puts you, right? 'Cause it's not really about a ranking or a position, but it's obviously a huge opportunity and a lot of eyeballs. So where do you see yourself going with the victory here?
I think it gets me a shot at the top 15 at least, but you know how the sport is, man. 3 fights and you're champion. Algieri, right? He had 3 fights, right, or 4 fights, and he was who's to say? Who's really making those rankings anyways? So I'm not really worried about that, but obviously I want to climb the ladder, and that's what I'm going to do.
Jared, to your right. If I hung out with you for a day, what would I find out?
Oh God! You really want me to tell you? I don't want to go there, but I had a whole other life, before I was trying to be an example for people. So I lived in a way that was, not necessarily the most holy or godly way, but yeah, man, I come from New York. My mother's Catholic Sicilian. My father's an English Jew. My grandparents were born and raised in London. Just for all the Brits out there, I'm half Brit. So, the household, the way we spoke, I've been cursing since I'm 3 years old. So you could use your imagination, and it's fun. We have fun.
I wonder what, he got a lot of attention for that speech he made after the last fight, and I thought of you when he was talking about that, because you've done a lot of stuff like that. And have you ever wondered why maybe you haven't taken off the way he did after that? He had that thing and kind of just blew up and gets a co-main event, and you're kind of still fighting that battle, right?
I mean, I wonder a lot of things, but this is, yeah, well, I know why, because I'm from America, and he's from Liverpool, and he has a whole city behind him, right? And the Americans like to tear down their athletes, and there's so many of us in the UFC, so who are they going to get behind? You know what I mean? You see guys come from different countries. Look at Conor, the guy out of country behind him. Khabib, he's got Russia behind him. Oh, you're from New York? Go F yourself, And that's like a saying, you walk on the street in New York and it's like, hey, fuck you, fuck you too. It's just like how we are, so. But as Americans in general, it's like, let's tear our athletes down instead of support them. Oh, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was just saying, New York is bigger than Liverpool.
Yeah, but that's a problem in itself. Who's Jared Gordon? How many people are from New York? So,
I assume the fact that he has had so much hype behind him made it more attractive to you when the fight was announced, because now you have a guy that a lot of people are going to tune in to see, and that puts you in the spotlight that way. Do you look at it like that, and that maybe you beat him, you take some of his shine?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta go in there and do what I gotta do. Like, a perfect example, right? Masvidal versus Darren Till. Look what happened to Masvidal. It seemed like they were going towards, all right, this is Till's night, and then Masvidal did what he did, and then it was like, all right, let's make him into a superstar now. So yeah, that's what I had to do. And that's what's going to happen.
So, you referenced, you don't want to go there when you talk about your personal life and everything, but if you become that superstar, right, that's going to put that kind of pressure on you, the spotlight, and you're going to have the cameras following you around, and you get a lot more. Are you mentally prepared to deal with all that stuff, that if you get to the absolute top level and you're another Conor, or, somebody nobody's another Conor, but in that kind of ilk, do you think that would be a hard thing for you to deal with?
No, I don't think so. I'll always stay true to myself, and as long as I walk with my God, then that's all that I have to do, And I'm not doing this for that. I mean, yes, I make a living doing this, and it's always nice to make more money and obtain material things, but I already sold myself to the devil, and I got it back, and I'll never go back to that life ever again.
Jared, right here. Kevin mentioned Paddy's post-fight speech about mental health, and I know that's something that's been important to you. You even in October, I believe you did an interview where you were saying you would like to maybe do something with Paddy after the fight. He just announced that he launched a charity. I don't know if you saw that, but do you feel like maybe you guys have more in common in that department than meets the eye, and would you like to maybe help him out with that going forward?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I had said that for that reason. Like, maybe we could do something together. Nothing came of it, but that doesn't mean something can't happen in the future. And, I think that even post or pre-UFC, I remember hearing him on the MMA Hour or whatever he calls his show now, that he was, dealt with mental health issues and stuff like that. And I was like, oh. And that's when I started, kind of liking him. But yeah, I think that with the support, that we both have and the people that are around us, that we could do something, and why not, right? And we can entertain people in the process.
Do you think you guys both proved maybe, I feel like there was this thought at one point in time that negativity was the thing that could promote fights and get people talking about your post-fight interview, but do you feel like maybe you guys are disproving that with the messages you're sending?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I see guys all the time, saying certain things to each other, using certain words, being tough guys, and it was like, if you were really a criminal, then you wouldn't be here. You would be out there extorting people and selling drugs and killing people. And I hear people call each other certain words, and it's like, where I've been and from where I'm from, those words, those aren't fist fighting words, those are I'm gonna stab you in your back when you're not watching words, But you can tell certain people haven't been to jail. Even, some of our superstars, they've never been to jail. They never shared a cell with someone else that they don't know who comes from, a terrible place. So yeah, that whole, the crap talk, I get it. Someone says something wrong to me, I'm not just gonna roll over, but yeah, I think, I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm gonna try to preach, mental health and addiction stuff, and that's where I'm at in life now. So, wrong.
Jared, were you surprised about the backlash that you got when you said that MMA doesn't fulfill you?
Oh yeah, dude. Went right over so many heads, and it was like, you guys really are stupid. Yeah, I mean, I'll win a fight every time I fight. Oh, this is my biggest fight, and then I win. 3 days later, I'm like, well, now what do I do? And I'm like miserable again. Now I'm starting to act out because I don't know where to put my energy. That's what used to lead me to like shooting heroin, or like doing something insane. So, the only thing that gives me that, for the millionth time that I said this is God, my wife, my parents, my friends. When I get to spend time with people, help people, that's what gives me lasting fulfillment. No matter what I do, MMA will never make me whole. And I'm going to retire. And what am I going to do when I'm 50 years old? People ask me, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm an MMA fighter. No, you're not. No, you're not. What are you talking about? So, you just can't put your value into something that's not going to last forever, So.
Here in the back, Jared. As the spotlight continues to grow for you, we know you're able to put an emphasis on your outside the octagon purposes. Do you feel like with a fight of this magnitude, you've been able to put even more of a spotlight towards the addiction, towards the mental health, and you've had those opportunities?
Oh yeah, definitely. My DMs are filled. I can't even, I need people to actually help me go through them. I can't do it myself. And yeah, that's the whole point, right? If LeBron James was talking about mental health, you'd get a lot of listeners, right? Conor McGregor was talking about mental health instead of flexing in the mirror, he would get a lot of listeners, right? But, whatever floats your boat.
And right now, do you have a direct focus, purpose, which way you want to take your journey as far as helping people, or can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, I mean, right now I do work with the center for treatment, addiction treatment. But, the goal is to open my own. I would like to do something for athletes and provide more of a holistic approach. Sometimes you need to, you have to use traditional modalities for treatment, detox, certain drugs that need to be used for people, otherwise, they could die or, have other health issues. So, but yeah, that's where I want to go, that's what I want to do. It's super hard nowadays, a lot of things are changing with insurance companies and, self-pay for treatment centers is really expensive. But yeah, that's something I definitely want to do. And I'm sure other things as well, as far as, I help people for free all the time. And that's what I've been doing for years. So I'm not trying to I have to toe the line of, am I doing this for personal gain and money, or am I doing this because I really want to help people? But I speak to certain people and they give me the answers that I need when it comes to stuff like that, and I'll figure it out.